Hello, my name is Lenny Vermoss, and this presentation or video is being made for the NEDA 2021 Spring Conference Series, Stretch Yourself. And the title was Help Students See Struggle and Taking Risk or Failure as Steps in Learning. As I worked with it, I really think a better title might be Growth Mindset, what it is, how it works, why does it matter, and strategies to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Here's my contact information, my email address, the home website that I have, and the website for the growth mindset materials. All of the materials that will be shown on this video are on my website, and I will take a minute at the end to go through the website to kind of show you those sites. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Lenny Vermoss, and my passion is helping students enjoy learning, and more importantly, specific for me, is helping students enjoy learning math. These are my 5 grandkids who I enjoy very much, and my wife Charlotte. If you'd like to know a little bit more about me, here's a link to a website that has some information about me, including my educational passions, blog and Twitter and podcast recommendations. So I want to begin with this picture, and this I love little kids, and remember when my kids and grandkids were this small, and I remember what a mess it is when they start learning to eat and feeding them and learning to eat for themselves. And what I would like to say is that I think this is a big fallacy that teachers do, and that is when we see students struggle, we want to jump in and make it easy for them. Spoon feeding is to provide someone with so much information or help that they do not need to think for themselves. And I think that is a problem that a lot of teachers have, and it's something that we want to change in teachers. To me, I think instead of spoon feeding students, we need to help them realize that making mistakes and struggling are important steps in learning. And I have a couple examples. One is a bench press spotter or coach, and as a spotter, it does you no good to grab the weights and lift it up for them. What you need to do is you need to encourage them, to help them, to be there, to direct them, to help them do better. This might be a little bit, my wife said this is a little bit bold, but Robert Kaplinski says, we want to be the least helpful to students to the point just short of where they don't die. What he's saying there is that we don't want to help students any more than they need. And I like to use the example of when you're barbecuing a steak, you can always put the steak on and cook it more, but once it's done too far, you can't take it back. And I think you want to think of that when you're questioning with students. Now, I do want to say that this has to be productive struggle. So it has to be something that the students think that they are capable of doing. There's a great Ignite talk here by Robert Kaplinski on productive struggle. As a math teacher, this might be a little bit of a surprise, but 2 is greater than 4. And the context for that is listening to students' questions is greater than listening for answers. And there's a really good Max Ray Ignite talk on this. You're going to find as I'm going through, because of the limit of 20 or so minutes on the video, I'm just going to provide resources, and then at the end I'll go through and show you where the links are, as well as you'll have access to this PowerPoint. But he makes some good points here, and Graham Fletchy says, when students struggle, only ask questions that do not give away the answer. Jo Boaler has another statement that says, help students learn that when you struggle is when students learn that when you struggle is when your brain grows. And she's an advocate for that. This one is a math one, and I have very few math specific ones in here, but this is one I think that math teachers, a lot of times, we provide tricks for students to kind of help them so they don't have to think, or we think they're struggling. And when you're doing those, you're really telling the students that they're not capable of understanding the math. And again, I think it's better to help them understand. Limitless Mind is a very recent book that Jo Boaler wrote. She has an earlier one, Mathematical Mindsets, that's more math related. This is the one that I would recommend for all parents and teachers. I really firmly believe that every parent and every teacher needs to know what a growth mindset is, and then how to help students move to a growth mindset. And that's really the first thing that I want to focus on, and then we'll look at some ways that you can move students in that direction. I love this. I pulled this out of her book. Teachers hold an incredible amount of influence. They can change the pathways of students, as many of the interviews I have shared have shown. They do this when they communicate to students that they believe in them, that they will value times of struggle and mistakes, and that they will honor different types of thinking and ways of approaching life. Parents play a similar role in valuing their children's way of being and unlocking their children to be the people they can be. Brains and bodies, it turns out, are incredibly adaptable. The power of this knowledge is amplified when teachers, parents, coaches, and managers, as well as students and others, learn to approach learning with this as mind. And Jo Boaler's book, Limitless Mind, is all about the power and the potential of a person to do whatever you think you can. Struggle does not mean endless frustration or extreme levels of challenge. It means we want students to expend energy and learn from their mistakes. What I take from this is, if you told parents or students that you want them to fail, you're going to get some kickback on that. But what it's really about is we want them to expend energy and learn from their mistakes. And it needs to be, one thing that's important, it needs to be within this zone of proximal development, or ZPD. And really what that means is that we want to challenge students with something that they feel they can reach. Something that's attainable, but something that they're going to have to work for. We don't want to start out and say, well, we're going to run a marathon. You might start out, if you've never run before, and say, I'm going to run a mile, and then you just build it up. And that's what we're talking about here. I like this analogy of a butterfly. A science teacher told me this, and I believe it to be true. If you see a monarch struggling to get out of its cocoon, as it is there in the left, and you say, oh, I'm going to help it, I'm going to break it out of its cocoon, the monarch will never fly, because it's never been forced to build its wings to be able to fly. And so I think as teachers we need to think of that way as well. Here's just the differences between the two components, and Carol Dweck was the first one to advocate this or explain it, and Jo Boaler has really taken that and extended it. But in a fixed mindset, you believe that your intelligence is static. It leads to a desire to look smart and a tendency to do several things. In a growth mindset, you believe your intelligence can be developed, that whatever you have, you can do better. In a fixed mindset, you avoid challenges because you don't like to look bad, you don't like to not do well. In a growth mindset, you embrace challenges because you think that no matter what the challenge is, you will be able to accomplish it with hard work. When confronted with obstacles, students or people in a growth mindset give up easily, and in a growth mindset, they persist and no matter what happens. And I do want to add something about a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, is that it's not all one or the other. You can be a growth mindset in one area and a fixed mindset in other. But I think when we get through, you'll see that the more that you are a growth mindset, the better you will be. As far as effort goes, in a fixed mindset, you see effort as fruitless because you only have so much you're born with. And in a growth mindset, that's what you see as how you're going to tackle the challenges that you have. In a fixed mindset, you don't like criticism because it's really is criticizing your essence of your person, and so you ignore that feedback. In a growth mindset, you like criticism because that's going to help you get better. In a fixed mindset, when others succeed, you try to tear them down. You don't like to see others succeed because you feel threatened. In a growth mindset, you find lessons and inspiration on the excesses of others, and you work together to achieve higher results. I'm a big fan of picture books, and I'm going to share a couple picture books with you. This one I like for doing the power of yet, and this is Giraffes Can't Dance, and there's links and information about that. Another one that I like is Math Curse and Science Verse. And I want to talk about the word yet. If you add the word yet to a statement, for example, I have not learned to play chess yet, it gives the implication that you're going to do it. I started this with my grandkids, and whenever they say they can't do something, if I look at them and they don't even hesitate, they'll just say yet. But I've learned that just having them say yet doesn't mean they're going to do that. I think they're just trying to make Grandpa feel good. So I like this suggestion about an extended yet statement, where when they say they can't do something yet, you have them add the word yet, and then how or the next steps are going to take. For example, I can't multiply yet. I'm going to use arrays, skip counting, other strategies to learn more facts. Jo Boaler says that everybody's brain can grow and change to learn any level of content. The very best time for brain growth is when you are struggling and making mistakes. And there's a lot to be said with that. Teachers need to stop giving the idea that only some people can learn and replace that with everybody's brain can grow and change, and mistakes and challenges are the best way to do that. Intelligence grows and is not something you are born with. Students need to think FAIL really stands for first attempt in learning. And they make that transition, it makes them feel better. And here are several short videos that you can show students to help them see the value of effort and hard work. I love this bulletin board. In this class, mistakes are expected, respected, inspected, and corrected. One of the things that a lot of times when I do work with students, I'll ask, do you ever play video games? And invariably the majority will say yes. I say, do you ever get killed? And they'll say yes. And then I say, did you quit? And they'll always say no, that they learn a way around. Children are used to this in the areas of athletics, performing arts, and working hard and practicing. They haven't made that transition into thinking about that in the academic sense. As I redid this kind of work on my webpage, I rediscovered this video, the Super Mario effect, and it's well worth the time of looking at, but it explains how to make learning more like games and how we can challenge students with games. I like to share my 3 P words: practice, patience, persistence, and I add an H word, hard work. You want your brain to be like a muscle, and you want students to realize it's like a muscle. This is a brain cell. This is a brain cell, a regular brain cell, and what happens when you work and learn is you grow new pathways. You get neural pathways. It strengthens and makes those connections more efficient. And what I like to say again when I'm working with students is that unlike the muscle, it doesn't get bigger. Otherwise, they said if that was the case, that brains were like muscles and they got bigger, my head would be way bigger than it is. Another important component, and I'm a big advocate of, we need to teach students about their brains and how they work. But it's amazing neuroplasticity that brains exhibit, and how much they can do. And Jo talks a lot about that in her Limitless book. And so there's a nice video here on neuroplasticity. Are mindsets permanent? The very good answer to that is no, that you can change them. And we're going to move to now to look at strategies for helping students move to a growth mindset. And one of those is how we praise students. And it has a lot to do about praising the effort that students do rather than their innate natural ability. So we want to praise struggle, persistence, but not just effort. We want to praise strategy, choices, learning, and improving. Here's some mindset statements. The ones on the left promote a fixed mindset, and the ones on the right promote a growth mindset. I was very guilty of this until I knew about growth mindset. I would say, oh, you're so good, or you did a good job, or whatever, and I've stopped doing that, and now I always praise the work that they do. I'm impressed with your work. I like how you stuck with it. Solomon Kahn, who's a math kind of guru, has a paper where he says, why I will never tell my students they're good at math. It's all about the effort that they put into. Now, there's a caution with this, and Carol Dweck was the first one to kind of come back and say that, you can't just say that, giving them working hard, but you need to be working effectively. And so it's telling students, you need to get to the strategies and how they can get better. So you need to ask questions like, what strategies did you try? What didn't work? What did work? So you need to give them some instruction and where to go and how to get there. There are several strategies that you can use to promote a growth mindset in your classroom. And I have a document that talks about some things like success files, journals, and so on. But first of all, you need to have an environment in your classroom where you have high expectations. Students feel free to take risks and make mistakes, that you give feedback on the progress, and that you're telling the students about how their brain operates and how it's be able to improve. Just a couple things, and there's more in the document. I like these little things that are on desks for students. You have a goal and then you give them feedback. I'm a big advocate of interactive notebooks, and here's some ideas of how you can use an interactive notebook. Another way you can help students is by having bulletin boards in your room. And I have lots of bulletin boards. I continually, when I look at Twitter, I'll see some bulletin board ideas, and I just put them in a PowerPoint, which I'll show you later. Here's some growth mindsets along with some fixed mindsets comments. Here, the next two are special to me. This one comes from Norris Middle School, and I really like that. These are kind of reflective mirrors that they have on the bulletin board, and I'm not on the bulletin board, but this is me taking a picture of it. But it says that meet the person responsible for what you've done, and it's your choices, your success, your actions, your words, and your grades. And then I like this one as well. This one was at Gretna Middle School, and there's a mirror over in the corner as well. And some examples of people that have shown grit, some typical ones that we've seen. And you have a mirror there where you would stand and say, do you have grit? This is a YouTube video that you need to watch. It's the best summary ever of what a growth mindset means for a child, and it's the Audrey Rube Goldberg Monster Trap. It's well worth the 5 minutes to watch it. 10 minutes, I'm not going to take the time to do it. This comes from the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, and what I like about this is that math does not appear in any of this, and I think this applies to any teacher or parent. And anticipate what students might struggle with during a lesson and be prepared to support them. Give students time to struggle with tasks and ask questions that build on what they had before them. Helps students realize that confusion and errors are part of the process. Praise students for their effort, perseverance, persistence, and reasoning through problems. All good things that we can do as a parent or a teacher, whatever we're teaching. So in kind of closing, I just have a couple things that I want to go back and re-emphasize about how you can get a growth mindset in your classroom. I really think, again, that when you find yourself jumping in and helping a student, instead, talk to them about how hard work and learning from mistakes is good. A lot of students think that success is going to look like this. Unfortunately, it looks more like this, but that means you're going to learn from your mistakes. So I think you need to keep working from the beginning of the year to show progress for students. And I think there's a lot of ways you can do that with interactive notebooks and success files. This one comes from the Super Mario effect that I talked about, and this was something that he talked about. And this is what many people think their plan is, and then reality hits and it looks like that. So again, I'm just quickly summarize, use the word yet, put up growth mindset bulletin boards, take time to listen to your students. I think as a teacher, you need to make sure that you're exhibiting growth mindsets. Teach your students about their brains. Again, that expected, respected, inspected, and corrected. And then helping students to see that struggle and expending energy are important. Journaling is important, and having the students kind of write about what they're doing. We're going to go to my web page, and here's the link to my web page. And I'm just going to show you all the things that are here, way more than what we would be able to go through, but I'll just point a couple out. So this is again, all my information is here. Jo Boaler resources are at the bottom. Here's the 2 books that Jo Boaler wrote. This one, The Mathematical Mindsets, is very math-oriented, although it has all of these things we've talked about. Limitless Mind is not. It's really talks about the things you can do that any teacher can do or parent. And it's just the potential to do anything that you set your mind to. The PowerPoint that I did is this one right here. These are some ones that I've done in the past. Again, I know you probably don't have a time to read a book. Carol Dweck has a book as well, but these would be some videos. Some of these are TED Talks, but these are videos, a 10-minute one, a 5-minute one, on a growth mindset and what it is. Here's the first steps. I got to put them so you could get started. The yet statement, extended yet statement. This is a little bit about you as a person. Are you showing a growth mindset? Jo Boaler links, lots of other things. Here's the success files and the journaling documents and ideas for that. Here's Giraffes Can't Dance. Here's the videos for first attempt in learning. Here's a little bit about Yoda, Math Curse. Here's the Rube Goldberg Monster Trap. Here's classroom strategies. The bulletin board ideas are here. The growth quotes are here. Here's the malleable brain. I have a lot for parents. I've done some. My hope is to do more with parents and helping them to help their students enjoy learning. Here is actually, I've got another website or a document like this that has links for parents. Here's a whole list of student videos that you can show your students. Here's several growth mindset videos about a growth mindset. I like this idea, and I've always had some teachers that when I do presentations are like this. This is using pipe cleaners to kind of show how the brain grows. Here's a little bit on learning zone and performance zone. And then from here on down is Jo Boaler in math. So I just can't say enough what she has done to change how I think about learning math. And so she has just done a lot, and there's all kinds of links here. The one that I would say, here's productive struggle, but the one that I would say, again, I got it down here in math, and maybe I need to move it up as I'm going down, is this rethinking giftedness. Jo Boaler really believes that a lot of times when we label students as gifted, we're putting them in a fixed mindset that really hinders what they're able to do. So there's lots of links and things there that you can take a look at. This is my information again, so I wanted to end with this. My email address, my home website, and the growth mindset. And I would urge you, if you have any questions or I can help in any way, please feel free to contact me. I'm kind of retired now, and I'm really, I enjoy helping teachers to help students. So if I can help in any way, please let me know. Thanks to Nita and for putting this together. And hopefully you'll have some strategies to be able to come up with a growth mindset.